There was
Pretty clutch.
the stop I was farming today was called Terracotta Children, and I kept dying laughing at it because it felt
Would you
it's
say
like
panna cotta what?
Terracotta Children.
How come some of the Pokemon glow?
That
Like,
means you just
those are
recently picked them
shinies.
up. Oh, sorry, it was Terracotta Daughters. That was what it was called.
That's even weirder.
Terracotta Daughters. And with that, welcome to episode number 35 of Pokemon Go. Of Pokemon Go. Is that what we're doing today?
Basically.
Yes.
Phones down, pencils down, heads up. You know,
Brandon's gonna go to Japan and get a Farfetch'd. I'm actually upset now.
Oh, come
Brandon's
on.
gonna go
true.
to Japan and fucking catch fucking sushi rolls. All right.
That's really bad. Your
You
bad.
struggled so hard for that and it wasn't even good.
Well, welcome to the show, everybody. Everyone say hi.
Hello.
Sam is just flopping now.
I need to hear names. Say your names.
Hello.
I'm Fats.
I'm
Fats.
Juice Chris. How's it
Cool.
going?
Who's praying today?
You?
What do you mean?
Like every
Grace.
episode we pray.
Why?
Do we?
Yes, we do.
Grace.
P-Bet, you have to pray because you haven't been here in like 3 weeks. You gotta
I
pray.
already am praying.
No. I'm looking at you. You're not praying.
I'm on Club Penguin right now.
Club
Yeah, makes
Penguin.
Didn't you get banned from that?
No, I tried to. They didn't ban me.
Oh, yeah, so you
at, the,
attempted to.
at the end of my
Yo.
24-hour stream, no matter what I did, they wouldn't ban me. So.
Yo, P-Bat.
Huh?
You know what's crazy is the last time when you did that 24 hours, I still have my letters.
Oh, true.
Wow,
I remember that.
letters.
I remember
Shout
that.
outs to letters.
Now there's a guideline in the Twitch emote guidelines just for
Legitimately
you.
the best emotes of all time.
They were.
Both of you.
I don't know.
Oh,
I'm pretty partial to
Don't
P-Bet
submit
triggered.
emotes like this again.
Do not.
Do not.
All right, who's praying? We need to pray. We need to pray to
All
bring
right,
us
so what
in.
do I have to say?
You have to like
I'll do it.
Okay.
No, he's looking at me already. No one wants to talk to you.
All right, Brandon,
What?
pray. Lead us in with a nice prayer.
Okay, so it's supposed to be like food, right?
It could be food. It could be
So I can hit you with the
DME.
itadakimasu, and we're good.
No. There will
No
be
weeb.
Itadakimasu.
The
No
only
weaving here.
no weeb in here.
It means thank you for the food.
You have to say amen after it. Then at least.
Amen.
Has to
Great.
be American.
That's the show.
That's BS. You let him get away with that, but I can't just say grace.
No.
Itadakimasu.
That fucking weeb shit. The fucking bing bong
You're
hello
not gonna
stuff
fucking
is
eat
done.
the Dakimas, okay? You're not eating that shit.
Itadakimasu.
All right.
I did all of you.
Brandon, you were at Evo the past week, so let's talk about it. Lead us off.
Hi.
Talk to us about your experiences that don't
Hi.
involve food or small, tight-bodied Asian women.
Inappropriate.
They are tight though.
Let's see.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god.
Can you stop for 2 seconds?
So we are talking about not food or the Asian girl. Then I don't. What else happened there?
Nope.
Video games.
Yes, that's right. What was it?
Smash 4.
Well, the venue had garbage food.
Okay.
Which venue?
Yeah, I
All
said
of
don't
the
talk
venue.
about food, but like,
No, seriously though, we got there on Sunday, and it's like it was on the other end of the strip. Like Mandalay Bay is on the let's say south end, and the convention center's on the north end. So there was like 3 miles in between these. Ooh, a rat-a-tat. And what happens is they tell us, okay, you got to go through security to get into the new venue right on Sunday, which you have to buy tickets for. And your tickets give you general admission unless you have floor seats. And the floor seats, by the way, not only more expensive, but
Or
had
worse.
a fucking terrible view. Those people got scammed. But
how much more expensive are we talking?
fairly, but I don't remember.
Wait, you mean to tell me people went to Vegas and got scammed?
Yeah.
So we had general admission seats. Now, there were, X amount of seats, 10,000, whatever, seats around this arena. And these seats definitely had different values, despite the fact that they cost the same. Like, people could be closer to the screen, at a higher up to where you could see directly into the middle of it, or maybe you were on the corner where you really couldn't see all that well. So we get there, and I'm starving. We decided to skip breakfast to get there early to make sure that we got good seats. And they don't have, like, real food in the venue. It's all, like, Tyson chicken tenders and hot dogs. And when I said, like, well, what happens if I want to get actual food? They're like, well, you have to leave and then come back through security. And if we did that midday, then we would have just lost our fucking seats. So, unless you had a doctor's note that said that you were a diabetic or something crazy, you had no choice but to eat this fucking slop.
If only you had a personal assistant to hold your seat.
Well, I mean, like, it's not like I could have gone anywhere. Like, the Mandalay Bay was, at least a 10-minute walk to, like, any type of food establishment. And at that point, it's like a restaurant. You're not getting takeout. So I mean, at minimum, you're wasting 40 minutes to get food. Even if she did save the seat, like, what are the odds it would actually be, like someone would be like, give me that seat?
So
Granted,
I think the issue here is you're going to Evo expecting to get good food.
it's not. Oh, I mean, Vegas is a food capital.
Well, fair, but
Vegas is a food mecca.
isn't
The issue
Gordon
is that
Ramsay's
they've-
thing there?
Yes, we
Gordon
went to
Ramsay. And he
two of
went.
Gordon Ramsay's restaurants.
yeah, I saw you
Um,
and your nacho, your singular nacho.
You realize that I just decided to create one good bite out of the plate of nachos, right? You dumb bastard.
Oh, I thought I don't know.
Don't say oh. Don't ever give DM the oh in that situation. You're supposed to fire back, feedback. The second you give up is the second he eats
Now
your
that's
soul.
something.
Don't let it happen.
I don't
He
have it, so
owns
he
you
can't. No,
He
he
owns
can't.
you.
my
Not
God.
he can't own me. Not anymore. We passed
You
that.
weren't in America. Shut up. He owns you.
About to say laws are different up there.
I don't know. I expected some high-end restaurant to serve you like, here's nacho supreme.
Yo,
It's a singular
dead
nacho
ass,
with.
though. That nacho, just that one nacho would have been worth the $16 that the nachos were, which is actually pretty cheap considering if you go to Applebee's, they're still like $12, right?
See, where was the nacho though?
No,
I just
they're
saw-
half-price
I saw, like, pulled
apps.
pork and sour cream.
It wasn't pulled pork, it was short rib. And there was
Oh.
no sour cream, that was melted cheese.
Oh,
P-Bet,
And
did
there was
you?
pickled
Feedback
bell
doesn't know
peppers.
anything.
What were you looking at, dude?
Yeah.
You guys just oh.
it
Well,
looked
to be
like
fair,
it
pulled
was
pork
white.
and short ribs don't look terribly dissimilar.
Dude, you're saying cream and pork. I think you were watching gay porn.
That was a
And
reach.
there it goes.
That
Ugh. Come on.
Not a fan.
All right,
No,
sorry.
I feel like every
So-
episode Smetter gets less funny.
I'll get funnier by the end of the
It's
episode.
supposed to ramp up now. That's
That's
how
right.
it works.
But by the end of, I mean, like, by the end of the trip, I was very disappointed with the options that we had for food at the venue. But, Vegas is a food mecca, like I said, so we still had some really good fare. Otherwise, Evo did have some hiccups. We had to sit on the floor for Smash 4. The timing on different tournaments was bullshit. There's definitely some foul play at hand. But for the most part, it was an enjoyable experience.
We'll talk
But
about.
that's coming from a person who didn't really care to win the tournaments he was entering.
Talk to me about the event itself, like the matches, anything that happened. Like, what was your general impression of it? Did it seem well put together?
Yes, you have a 2,600 person Smash 4 tournament, and they finished the entire tournament in less than 30 hours. That's really impressive stuff. Like, that's really good TOing, despite the fact that it wasn't even maximized. You got to be impressed by that kind of thing. 5,000 people for Street Fighter 4 getting finished in 3 days without players really complaining all that much. Again, there was definitely some foul play at hand, considering that the I think they're just referring to it now as Pool A. There was like very little, or if any, European or Japanese pressure. It was basically the Justin Wong story, as it was supposed to be, where Justin gets a free bracket to make sure there's at least one American in top 8, which actually wound up being Long Island Joe with the upset.
Eli Joe.
Shout out to LA Joe. Shout out to the East Coast. That's what you get, Justin Wong, for moving.
Did you see LA Joe get mentioned on WWE?
Yeah, he got mentioned everywhere. He's a superstar right now,
That's dope.
which is probably the best thing for the fighting game community as a whole, because you have 6 people from Japan, 1 from Korea, and then you have Justin Wong. I mean, yes, he's an American, but he's
You
full-blood
talked about
Chinese.
this, yeah.
Yeah, he's full-blood
Wait,
Chinese.
really? That's
yeah.
a problem?
Well, I mean, for ESPN and every
I
news
see,
outlet
okay.
who wants to show the underdog story, whereas Long Island Joe is, a crazy bald white guy with great pop-offs, and his dad's in the audience, and he has biker tattoos. Like, it really looks like he should. He has like a handlebar mustache. It's amazing. It's very different, and it gave a sense of difference, I suppose. I think is the best way to put it. And it's not like it'd be the end of the world if Justin Wong made it. I mean, Justin Wong is by far and away one of the best, if not the best, fighting game player in the world. But it didn't create a story for the ESPN viewers to watch. Like people who weren't on, or well, not on, but weren't major
In the-
fighting game players or even watchers. They don't know about tournaments. They see this one dude trying to fight through a sea of people who are clearly from other countries. It creates a better narrative.
So
Unfortunately.
are you saying that's more of what the fighting game community needs?
No, I think what the fighting game community needs is like just a better tournament structure as a whole, because we have a few tournaments a year and they're very different from each other, and it's not very interesting. It's kind of like the Olympics, right? Every 4 years you have the Olympics, and then when you get on the Olympics, all the commentators are talking about, yeah, this Dominique girl, she won like 16 championships last month at all these gymnastic things. Like, what the fuck? There was gymnastics tournaments? Why didn't we see these? Why weren't they on ESPN fucking 8, the Ocho? Like, where we were trying to watch this shit?
No
I was
devil
like, which
tongues,
ESPN
dude.
number is he going to go with here? Of course, the dodgeball one.
But, you know, it's the same thing. You know, you have your CEOs and everything, but nothing's getting major press except for Evo.
Would you say that that's because the community fails to represent itself to the whole of the world?
No, I think it's because the tournament organizers and streamers don't really give enough of a shit to make it happen.
What makes you think that?
They don't.
Like, okay,
I mean,
give
you
me
have,
some
you have
examples.
CEO, I think, is doing a pretty good job of branding itself, but you have a lot of tournaments that aren't reaching out to ESPN and all these other people. They're not making sure the top streamers and top players are in attendance. They're not spending a lot of money to get this done. They're looking to make a small amount of profit and go home. And, you know, while some of the Smash community has that, you have to remember that Smash has a very hard time outside of things like Evo, because Nintendo doesn't really want Smash to exist in the way that it does. Despite the fact that they're starting to support, they're still, you know, trying to relegate it a little bit more heavily. Let's consider Capcom, you know, who throws hundreds of thousands of dollars, or NetherRealm with hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it's a little bit easier.
Yep.
Now, you had some comments earlier this week about commentators. Care to just like give us a quick rundown on that?
Well, most commentators don't understand what the fuck they're doing. Not only from a you know, a commentary standpoint, where they don't really get how to form a proper story or why a narrative is important, not only for, you know, throughout a top 8 or top 16, but in the match itself, and how to create it through, you know, habits in players, or the, you know, the special costumes that they use, just anything. They don't do these kinds of things, and it makes it harder for these players to brand themselves because they don't understand where to take their audience. But at the same time, they're also not understanding how to be professionals. They don't know how to properly ask for the money that they deserve. They don't know what their responsibilities are. And it's kind of distracting to the overall tournament when you have these commentators who don't really know what they're doing a lot of the commentary throughout the tournament. And I don't know, it just makes it a pretty awful narrative throughout. It's kind of annoying to me, you know, because I've been a professional commentator for a few years now, and these are things that I kind of maybe didn't know right away, but, you know, started to know about 6 months in. But I mean, that was still 2014. You know, we're 2.5 years later now, and these people are still not picking up the basics. It's actually like playing the ranked mode of League of Legends.
Do you think that that's because of the nature of the clientele in esports in general tends to be young, I was going to say underdeveloped. No. I mean, like, they're not yet, like, some of these people, like, come
it's
to
not
these...
just the fighting game community, but if we're pointing at the fighting game community, a lot of it has to do with the fact that the people who are your famous commentators, aside from maybe, like, Ultra David or James Chen, I mean, a lot of these people are just growing up in arcades. You know, not a lot of them grew up with opportunities, and they don't see this as a way to make money. The fighting game community to them is still an escape. You know, you think about... You know, one of my favorite stories is Chris G. If you don't know Chris G, I encourage you to do your research out there.
I haven't done mine.
Okay, he is the current champion right now for Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Has always been a top competitor there. Was a top competitor in multiple other fighting games as well. Started to make his real claim to fame in 2011 when Marvel 3 came out. Really talented guy, but Chris G grew up in a part of New York that you would not want to grow up in. And Chris G lived in a house with a lot of people. Like, a lot of people.
Like, how many? I probably lived with more.
Like
it was a single bedroom apartment, and I think the answer was like 8 to 10 people.
Oh wow, we all had our own bedrooms, but I had 10 people too.
No, there was a single bedroom. There was like 8 people, and you know, I've heard this story, you know, through a third party, so excuse me if I'm missing details. But Chris would receive a small amount of lunch money every day for school, which he would forego eating, and he would take that money and he would go to the arcade, and he didn't want to go home, so he would stretch that $3. To make it last as long as possible. He would put 50 cents in a fighting game, and he would make sure that his ass was in that chair for at least an hour on that 50
Oh, it's
cents.
a literal escape.
Literal.
Okay.
To get out of the fucking house, right? You know, this is not a terribly uncommon theme or uncommon story when you're talking about a lot of the players in the fighting game community. Because if you think about where these players grew up and how they had access to these games, and people who wanted to get better before the massive push of online, and I would say like 2012, 2013, you had, you know, Chinatown Fair. You know, you had arcades in, you know, Southern California in sketchy neighborhoods. Like, these are the kind of people that grew up. So now that we're getting to the point where we're trying to live esports, you know, and we're supposed to be swagging out in fucking suits and getting fancy cars and shit. People don't recognize where the fuck they're supposed to go in terms of asking for money, and they don't understand how to get it. And when someone says we're not going to pay you this much, they don't know how to argue that they're worth it. And that sucks because it's undercutting the rest of us as well. I grew up in a situation not terribly unfamiliar to those of city kids, and it's been hard for me trying to grow into a position where I can tell someone, hey, listen, I understand that you want to pay this guy $200, but you're going to give me $1,000 because I'm worth it, and I'm going to bring 50 times the amount of content and value to your stream, and I can prove it. And I have a proven track record for it. But it's still a very difficult situation. It's a very difficult process, and a lot of people are too afraid to do it. I think the most common argument is like, well, what if they just tell me no? Well, then, homeboy, you just skip that shit.
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you think?
People are like
Not that
naturally
easy.
afraid of rejection.
I mean, Evo is a small part of this. Apparently, one of the commentators got $450 for the weekend. He did not do a top 8. He did not do a top 8. He got $450. He did a lot of pools. Okay.
Wait, this is in fucking Vegas.
Listen. $450, no flight, no hotel, no food per diem, no catering, no Uber cost.
He got
reimbursement.
$3 that he had to use for fucking lunch. And he had to stretch it.
He got $450. Now peep this, right? TK Breezy, who did top 8, and again, this is unconfirmed, although he has heard me say this and he has not disconfirmed himself, but he received for top 8, no flight, no hotel, no per diem, no catering, no Uber reimbursement, okay? He received $350. Same game, less money for top 8 because apparently he did less hours of commentary. Evo was paying an hourly rate to their commentators.
What was the hourly rate then?
I have no idea, but whatever it was, if it resulted in $350 for a top 8 tournament, for a tournament that, was a 2,600 person event, it wasn't enough.
That's actually kind of insulting.
It's embarrassing. Or let's talk about Super Smash Con. Super Smash Con's coming up soon, and people are flying all over the country to come to this thing. It's supposed to be a major event. Apparently, not only are they not paying their commentators, but the commentators have to pay venue fee.
What?
Like the cost to get into the event, they want the commentators to pay them to work for them.
That's like having a dinner party and like charging admission.
There's not enough languages in our world, including like Klingon and if I were to write it in Aurebesh and all this other shit, like whatever you want to come up with, there is not enough languages for me to tell them to go fuck themselves in. For me to really get that point across.
Does this happen because it's like not professional?
Well, it's not that it's not professional. It's that people don't see that commentary is worth it because our commentators don't understand what their responsibilities are, and they don't understand why they're bringing a lot to the table. And the people who run tournaments decide that they don't need that kind of thing. They'll take someone who's going to undercut them or who even wants to work for free just to be on camera. I was watching a tournament yesterday called Skatar Saga 2GG, I don't know, something in California. It was an okay
This is a
tournament.
K-Taro event.
The last actually the top 8 was actually pretty good. Shout out to Pink Fresh, that's my boy for winning the tournament. But I was watching like the top 48 stream, and there was a female and male streamer that were doing like a combo. And
You mean they were having sex?
no, I meant they were commentating.
Okay.
And stop breathing in your mic, you pig.
Oink, oink.
The commentary was so bad that I turned the stream off. I mean that seriously. I turned the fucking stream off.
Could you do an
It was
impression of it?
terrible. Every single time the set ended, oh, you don't want to see it end like that. Every fucking time. And then the male commentator after the female would say that would just be like, yeah, oh man. So maybe you're right. Maybe they were having sex. I don't know.
About to say that does sound a lot like fucking porking.
You don't want to see it end like that.
Yeah. And the guy can only heavy breathe.
But it's a shit show across the board. You have great commentators and things like StarCraft with people like Tasteless and Artosis. Smite had great commentary, and me and Bart were there.
Oh.
And the pause. and the pause.
my God.
Oh, you hate to see it end like that, huh?
League of Legends, I think of Riv and Freak and Jat and how amazing these commentators are. And you go to FGC and you see people like 2011, 2012 Yipes. right? Who makes you jump out of your fucking seat. And then I watched 2016 Yipes, and I didn't feel any passion. He's clearly done with Marvel. They had him on because he's a name. It wasn't a lot of fun to listen to. I think Samantha did a good job. Persia, I think she did a good job. But I didn't feel Yipes' love this year. I think Sajam did a pretty decent idea at Evo, but Sajam apparently, and the rumor is he got flight, hotel, and $1,000 a day.
Probably because he negotiated it.
Right, and that's a proper amount of money. You're going to practice and lead yourself up for 6 weeks to this tournament. You need to make sure you're making somewhat of a living wage, and even that is below the median income. So you watch their commentary, and he's decent, right? He was a decent commentator, and I mean that in every stretch of the word. He had a good look. His vocabulary was decent. He had a few tropes that he hit like way too many times. Pronouns were bad. He consistently used catchphrases that I think were overdone. Aries had the same problem, saying things like "the crowd goes wild" and such.
That's such a lame thing
Aries
to
is
say.
hilarious.
The crowd was
Jesus.
not going wild. By
The
the way.
crowd goes
the
wild.
best
Everyone's
part.
just like standing around.
But otherwise, I think Aris was probably the best commentator of the day. Like
Have
he was
you
so
ever
much fun
listened to
listen
Aris
to.
before
No,
this?
of course I have.
Okay.
So
but
are you
for
saying-
the most part,
That
it's a
man
shit
is
show. But for the most part, it was a shit show. People aren't getting paid. It's nonsense. In fact, it's not just people aren't getting paid. I'm not getting paid. I worked for DreamHack, and I was going to DreamHack either way, right? I was already
What's
booked. I was
happening
going to spectate and have a good time. I told the Melee community I'd be happy to do some of their pools just as like a guest commentator. And they said, well, all of our commentators get paid, blah, blah, blah. We would want you on a schedule, and you'd have to be here at certain times. And I said, okay, well, if you're going to schedule me into certain places, then I'm going to ask for, some kind of payment. And I said, I'm also going to ask for cab reimbursement. They said, no problem. And this was about a month ago. It's a little over a month ago at this point. Still haven't been paid. Everyone's dodging my calls and emails. And I heard that commentators from Smash Brothers haven't been paid from DreamHack Austin, which happened in May. All right, these people were getting screwed, and I'm giving them about another week of them, because apparently the one guy who's supposed to pay me is like on vacation. He's been on vacation for like 6 weeks.
He can't write a fucking check.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
If
So
that's
I'm
his
gonna
fucking
give him-
job?
I'm going to give him a week. I'm not like hurting, I don't need to pay off a loan shark or anything. My Vegas experience was pretty low key. So I'm going to give him another week. I'm going to let him get back from vacation. I'm going to send him an email saying, like, listen, you have 7 days, please. It's been almost 2 months.
He sent him a fucking tape of a fucking dead Japanese girl.
Dude, I hold grudges, bro. Let me tell you.
It's not the grudge.
Right, what was I supposed to say? I have rings on? Oh, I do have
Wait, is that the one where everyone can
Ah,
everyone can kill each other for one night a year?
Yes, that's
the
it.
purse,
That's
the
no, it's
fuck?
the facts. Trust me.
Stop
Just,
it.
please.
Stop.
Let me have
Let it
this.
end.
Jesus Christ. Sam, what happened?
But I'm
to
going to
you?
give him another, week and a half, 2 weeks, because he's on vacation. Maybe it's been a really stressful year for him. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that they're not going to screw me, because you don't want to screw people who have a lot of followers.
So are you saying that this is like the Wild West when it comes to operations for major esports events?
Oh, well, not for major esports. I would say for completely unregulated. Like, Evo likes to pretend that they're a grassroots movement, which is not entirely the case considering how much money they make and how many corporate sponsors are aligned. They can call themselves grassroots all they want. But when a streamer says to you, listen, I would like the permission to restream your stream, but have it in French. Real quick, how many people do you think would have turned into that, Smatter and Cyanide? How many people do you think would watch the French restream of Evo?
Maybe a couple thousand if you got really lucky.
Right.
I'm saying
Maybe,
4,000
maybe.
max.
Yeah.
4? You guys are
No,
high.
no.
2K
maybe
at
2.
max.
Yeah, 2 if you advertised it heavily and Evo was putting it up. Hey, French
Right,
stream,
exactly.
go look.
Which
Yeah.
is probably not going to happen. If they're saying
Yeah.
hey, we want to be able to do this with French Restream, is that cool? They probably get like 500, 600 viewers at maximum. And even that is kind of a stretch, right? You know what Mr. Wizard, the face of Evo said to this guy? $20,000.
Really?
He wanted $20,000 to restream it in French. Real quick, do you know how much a Buffalo Wild Wings has to pay to recast, a pay-per-view event? $10K. Granted, they're not streaming it to the internet, but the idea that a restaurant can restream and show a pay-per-view event is half the price of people trying to watch Evo in French.
That's
And
actually
they-
insane.
In the same breath, are going to try to tell me that they're a grassroots movement. One of these. Fuck, 2 of these. No way.
That's middle fingers for those of you listening at home.
Yeah.
Um,
And unfortunately, that kind of attitude's not new from Mr. Wizard, though.
No, it's not.
No, not at all.
he should be called Mr. Dick Wizard.
Nice one.
Actually, that sounds like something like
you gotta
flattering.
stop with the jokes today because it's not working.
It'll get better by
Maybe
the
Wait,
end of
wait,
the
real
episode.
quick, real quick. All right, money where your mouth is, P-Bat. You tell us a joke then.
Maybe I just
So-
need to talk more, and then Sam will seem funnier
Nah,
by
that's not it.
comparison.
That's not it.
So
See
Sister
that-
Mary and Mother, whatever.
No.
Mother, father.
Not
Laughing in
the
here.
only joke Brandon knows and
I don't
loves.
even remember. I don't even
The
remember
joke
the
I've
rest of this.
heard
I can't do
at
it.
least 50 times in the past 4 years.
I think
Well,
if
I
I hear
haven't
this
known
joke
it
again,
for that long.
I'll pass over.
Oh wow.
Yes,
okay.
you did.
No, wait. Tone was 2014. 2013.
Speaking of
13.
Tom, you see the shirt I'm wearing? It's the
No,
Tom shirt.
it looks like
Yo,
a plain
God bless.
purple shirt.
I know, it looks like- it looks
tweet
plain,
at
but
Foster's and ask him if the servers are coming back.
Yeah, it was
up.
2014, bro. It's been 2 years. It's been
I've
2
been
years.
waiting.
Calm
I've
yourself.
been waiting.
All right. So
You stole the joke from somebody.
so-
and then
I
just
didn't
kept
steal it.
telling it.
That's-
I'm borrowing it.
when are you giving it back? Honestly, I think
haven't
this
seen that
book
girl
is
in years,
overdue.
and I
I've
would
seen
love
that
to
girl
because I think she's
I love her.
hilarious.
I love that girl.
No, so tell me. So what do you think the solution to all of this this
Well, people-
conflict, right?
Yeah. People need to
Where's the
stop being
regulation?
bitches.
Do you think it's like an informal players union? Do you think it's just the commentators and participants like just going harder on what on their expectations? Is it
I think
building a
the
resource?
best thing that we can do is we say, if you want a high quality stream, you have to pay that streamer X amount of money to run your tournament online because let's be real, that's how you get famous. And then the streamer has to pay the commentators. I put a lot of this on VG Bootcamp, right? If VG Bootcamp is streaming an event and EE is not getting paid or TKO is not getting paid, how is that Evo's fault? How is that not VG Bootcamp's fault? Or how is it not Team Spooky's fault? Because let's be real, Evo already has the people in the building, right? Yes, they're getting more famous, but they're paying the streamer to make them that famous, right? For Smiter, for League of Legends or Dota, all of that is done by the company. All of that is done in-house. Their stream is by their own production company, right? And the production company are the people who work with and train and hire these casters. So why are we looking towards the tournaments? Because, that's been the gold standard up until now. The correct answer is to look at streamer and say, you, streamer, need to negotiate a better price from the tournament, and then from there, you need to properly pay the people who are adding content to your stream. And if you are not doing that, you are stealing money out of their pockets.
But Evo has people to send in tapes so they could choose who's doing commentary.
Oh, that's what I'm saying, for the future.
Okay.
For the future.
Mhm.
Because that would still be on Evo this year at the very least.
Yes. I don't really like the way that they did that either. The send in a reel.
They didn't let
Um,
them know until a week before the event.
Right, exactly. They picked everyone at the last minute. So
So they weren't paying any of them to get to the tournament anyway.
Yeah,
Right,
so
exactly.
it doesn't
Like,
matter.
well, if you want to go, you're going to have to already be booked and already paid for it. These people paid to enter the tournament as well. Like, this is absolute nonsense. Everything that Evo has done this year in terms of commentary, I think, has been a joke. The one good thing that they did, in my eyes, was make sure that Seth Killian was on for ESPN. That's it. That guy is a fucking god.
Who is that?
I mean,
Seth Killian was one of the major leaders in the fighting game movement. If you go back to 2004 and you watch the Justin Wong versus Daigo video, Evo Moment 37 or whatever they call
Yep.
it, where he makes the huge comeback with the Daigo parry, the what was it, like 15
he doesn't know what
parries?
that is. He doesn't
Well,
know
Yeah,
what that
yeah.
You've seen it.
No,
Seth
I
Killian
probably
is the one
haven't,
that's
but-
commentating over that clip, saying things like rare footage of Daigo actually angry, right? The beast, just screaming, that he was the first, fighting game commentator that made you look at the game and go, oh my God, that's so exciting. He was the first person to be put on the major Evo top 8s when we started using Twitch for real. Seth Killian then, from there, went to Capcom to help, or rather went to Sony to help work on PlayStation All-Stars. Not even he could save that game. He helped start the studio that made that game, Rising Thunder. It was supposed to be a casual attempt at fighting games, which was eventually bought out by Riot. So
Yeah.
he's in a pretty
Legends
good
fighter.
position. And I didn't. What sucks
The
for
game
me
was
is
pretty good.
in the venue we listened to James Chen and Sajam, who were commentating the top 8 for Street Fighter, to Twitch. We couldn't hear the top 8 going to ESPN, which was of course Seth Killian and Mike Ross. I would have preferred that, despite the fact that I love James Chen and I think that Sajam did a great job. But it would have been great to be able to listen to Seth Killian.
I agree. I tried
Probably
to get
some-
ESPN on my TV because we were all watching in Discord,
That's crazy.
and ESPN was happening before the regular Twitch stream because of
That
how
was
the
the
commercials
worst part.
worked. So we were just in the Discord. So like we're sitting there, and a few of us are watching on TV. The rest of us are watching on Twitch. And they're just hitting us up with the hot spoilers of getting hyped before things happen. Like Pat, you know Pat Dark. He doesn't Dark Fate. He doesn't watch fighting games at all, but he watched with us because it's hype, and the commentary was helping him understand the game more. So he was watching on his TV, and he was just getting hyped like seconds before things happened. So everybody else like, come on, man, no spoilers. Cut it
It made
out.
the Li Joe set really hard because they knew what was happening like before the hype super counters and all that. So
The fuck is a super counter?
I misspoke. Whatever.
It's
You know what I mean, where he actually managed to get the super at the very low health, clutch out
At
the
the
win.
very-
Now, isn't that like a
very low
guy
health.
who like manages your
Like
counter
one
space in
pixel?
your kitchen?
Stop this.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, Pat.
You are
Pat's in
reaching.
the chat right now.
Or-
Call outs.
Or like,
straight up.
or like a super counter is just like a counter for really
Ooh.
tall people.
Oh, come on.
Oh God! All right, so
What
some
about Sphero?
so some other news came out at Evo as well. Some more troubling news.
Oh god.
Fat, you want to take this one?
Nope. I don't even want to talk about it.
Really?
Oh, is it the like?
So there's a Mexican smasher. He comes over, gets super drunk, passes out in a hotel room, wakes up, jumps into, or not jumps, but climbs into a bed with a girl and her boyfriend in it, shimmies in between them, and apparently, and this is all,
Hearsay, yeah.
Dude, he's
He
making
was
a
all-
Mexican hot dog.
it's all- this is what we call the Mexican hot dog. He puts his hand up her shirt. She wakes up, says, "Get the fuck out of this bed, get out," blah blah blah. One of the other players wakes up, apparently brings her to a different room or something, or him to a different room, something of that nature. He then finds her and does it again.
Not a
And
different room, but moves her to a different bed.
different
with other
bed,
people
whatever.
on it.
It's the same shit, right? He still tracked her down, right?
He put his scent on her and then found her.
Mexican hot dogs, man.
I can't laugh
You
at
know,
this.
they're stinky.
Sorry.
I can't laugh at this.
Chorizo.
Oh,
chorizo.
God damn!
Not this kind.
I'm
Normal
surprised
kind
I
of
didn't get to that joke.
So anyway, he does it again. He gets kicked out. Right, he wakes up and sees all this news going down of her, her blowing him up, and there's a big molestation thing, and all this stuff. It's sketchy to me because there's not a lot of detail. The boyfriend doesn't seem to have anything to say about this. She then retracted her comment saying like everything's okay, we worked it out or something, and everyone in the community like lambasted him and kicked him out, which I think they were right to do, given what he did, saying that he would be
was
permanently banned, and then
Superman.
and then the Smash Illuminati banned him for a year, which I think was appropriate, given that we don't really have precedent to ban people permanently, especially without they put him on trial to the public and let his reputation be destroyed. But I never heard, from most of the people in the room, a lot of them stayed quiet. And I'm not really taking sides on this. I do think that if at all he touched this girl, he should most certainly be banned. That's terribly inappropriate. But honestly, I don't like the whole situation. It seemed very awkward. I think there's a major lack of detail.
Yeah. And like other people's point, because the room is supposed to be have a lot of people in it, right? Like,
Yeah, it was
surely,
supposed to be
And
a lot of people.
Everyone except her boyfriend woke up, evidently.
Yeah.
didn't hear
I have a
that
problem
part.
with this. That she. And this is going to make me sound like a terrible person. I agree.
will.
If he did this, he by all means should suffer any punishment
He did do it.
that is associated with this type of crime. However, I find it particularly troubling that this girl would first destroy his reputation and then be like, nah, by the way, we worked it out and not going to press charges. That is very strange to me. If you would
Agreed.
destroy someone's life without doing it like the official way, she subjected him to the court of public opinion without the willingness to subject him to regular court. And that to me seems a little bit inconsistent. And if she was that upset, she also, everything aside, she should have worked that out with him. I'm sorry, if I have a problem with somebody, I work it out with them. I don't work it out with
I don't know that
Twitter.
I agree with
If you've
that.
been molested, you work it out with them.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Are
I
you-
mean, that could be.
I've been in a similar situation,
strange.
and I have worked it out in that way.
Right, but I mean, you and everyone else. I mean, you're a very confrontational person. You're very outgoing. She might not be that way. So that
Right.
could have been something that she's not prepared to do at all. But I agree with you 100% that if you were going to drag someone through the mud, you need to make sure to drag them through court as well, because
Yeah.
he has no way to fight this. I mean, if he would go to court and be, sat down in front of, a jury of his peers and told, you are here to defend yourself in this case, and here's the evidence presented against you. Can you do so? He should be given that chance. In this case, things like Reddit and Twitter don't give you a chance to explain your side. So he, had his Smash career basically ruined. And if the case is true, then it should be. By all means,
Yes.
he probably should never be allowed back.
People,
Um,
it was
but-
true. It happened. He
Okay,
admitted to
I'm-
doing it.
Listen, whether it happened or not is not the relevant idea to
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying. Like I said, if it did happen, he deserves this. But there's no way for us to know if it didn't happen because there has never been an opportunity for us to have the facts in front of us in a situation where people could go to jail for lying. I could say whatever I wanted on Twitter and have it never come back to haunt me.
I think there's a problem where someone's first response to an issue or an assault as severe as this is to go to Twitter. I think there's a huge problem with that. If people think that that's what they should be doing, especially when the person's of notoriety or of no notoriety, I think it's just wrong. It's
Welcome
just like
to 2016.
I know.
I do
and
think there should be, some type of message saying this happens. Here's what we're going to do. But I do want to put myself in her shoes here. It's probably a very scary moment for her. I just don't understand the thought process of how she got to the point where she was saying, "Okay, I'm up. This happened. What do I do? I'm gonna write a twit longer."
Yeah, and her twit longer is very strange as well.
What she wanted to do, and I'm not defending her for doing it, was she wanted to bring awareness to the situation that happened.
Okay, I get that, but I just don't get why I do get why the cops weren't called. She said that she didn't want to go through a court of law because then her parents would have found out and they wouldn't
And
have
she
allowed
wouldn't
her
go
to travel.
She wouldn't go to
Right.
events anymore.
She put it on Twitter,
Do her parents have a Twitter?
but that's just like I'm just saying, like what, like that.
I feel like that's gonna get out. I feel.
Yeah,
Like,
that's that's fucked up.
That travels, and people are.
Guys, I'm putting this twit longer out because I don't want my parents to ban me from fucking going to things. That is wrong. If she's that serious about it, she should have been serious about it.
Yeah, if this was that big of a deal where she is truly scarred, I mean, telling your parents should be the first thing that you do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
This
telling the cops,
happens-
I mean, she is creating a precedent where women should be afraid to tell their parents or the cops something that happened that
Yeah.
is terribly illegal, and instead should subject people to ridicule on the internet so that they could feel better about it. That doesn't make sense. And again, I'm not trying to belittle her feelings. I'm sure what she went through is very scary. My family has had major amounts of domestic violence and all of the things of the sort. That's a very important issue to me. But at the same time, this is not the correct way to do it. And while whatever he gets, he likely deserves, because like I said, the facts aren't in front of us, but from what I've seen, it's pretty clear that he did what he did. Despite the fact that he says he doesn't remember a thing, I think there were enough eyewitnesses who normally wouldn't put themselves in this kind of confrontation who spoke out against him. I think it kind of proves it. It still doesn't make the action right because
Yeah.
it doesn't make this a safer space. It's not solving the problem, it's pushing it.
It's also creating hysteria in esports and delegitimizes it. a little.
Agreed.
I think that's the problem because that's the only things you tend to hear out of these Smash and fighting game events is like incidents, people fighting, people getting too drunk, stuff happening. I understand the lack of desire to bring something to court. It takes a long time. It's a lot of effort. You're forcing someone who, if they were truly molested, to confront that person, and that is not an easy thing to do. While I do think it is the right thing to do if you truly believe in our system, I understand not wanting to do it, but going to. But it seems like when she did her twit longer, it seemed to me like that she had felt that she had overreacted because she was able to work it out with him. And he was apologetic and stuff like that. And that's why I'm like, even still, why throw him under the bus like that publicly if you're not
I
gonna...
mean, again, it could be that she was scared or
Yeah.
afraid, and she didn't want there to be, people who didn't know about this. Maybe she wanted to try to create a safer space. I just don't think it worked out in the way that she had intended. I think overall, it has made the Smash community a little bit less likely to be looked at in a professional manner, not because of the way she handled it, just because of the way everyone handled it. The backlash from the professional players as well.
Yeah.
The way that they went on Twitter and just destroyed this guy and, You know, the way that he responded, talking about how he has a drinking problem, like going on social media, you know, and I'm definitely, you know, in this camp as well, because I'm an idiot. You know, going in an emotional state on social media and saying things that you may or may not mean can be very damning and can, you know, hurt not only yourself, but the people around you. And I don't think anyone really handled the situation well. Although, again, yeah, you have to give some level of leeway to the girl, because you know she was a victim in this, and I don't want to victim blame by any standard. You know, she was in a situation where she couldn't make the right decision, but I think the people around her weren't helpful either. I think what he did was terrible, and I think this is also a broader conversation of, you know, how do we get people to not put 10 drunk people in a hotel room? How many of those people in the hotel were underage? And I know that they were not all over the age of 21. Like, why is this, you know, party culture such a lovely thing to so many people? It is clearly very dangerous. People are not taking care of themselves, not taking care of each other. You know, it's just not a safe space for anyone. And while I don't think we should say things like, you know, you shouldn't be surprised or anything like that, because you should always be surprised and you should always be outraged. But we're putting ourselves in these situations where danger is imminent. And I think we need better communication from the Smash community about how we need to conduct ourselves at tournaments as a whole. Because if Hyuga is doing this, and he, you know, in my eyes very clearly did, if Hyuga is doing this, some part of him thought it was okay, drunk or not. And is that his nature? Does he think that this culture is okay? Is it part of the Smash Brothers community that makes him think so? I mean, there's so many different issues that arise from this, and the only thing people are doing is going on social media and lambasting one person instead of talking about the broader subject.
Yeah.
What do you expect?
It just
See right there, that's bullshit.
It's scary to me that we live in a world where, like, you can make the worst mistake of your life, and it could be like just one tweet, one social media post, and your life is literally ruined. It follows you forever, even if, like, you are a good-natured person. And, like, we all fuck up. Like, every one of us has fucked up royally. Some of us have done it more publicly
Look at what
than
happened
others.
with Gormizer, right? Or no, not Gormizer, Groscore.
Groscore, yeah.
Groscore, yeah. Where he made that one comment about was it Crepo?
Yeah. He said that
Crepo, he said like Crepo, professional League of Legends player, slept with a 15-year-old. And it was like an entirely false thing. He was really upset because he like some drama in a ranked match or something like that, and he said it on stream, and he got banned from Twitch. He got banned. He got fired from his job, and
Jeez.
like
He's struggling now too.
Yeah, and he's really struggling now. And he said he made this big YouTube video saying like that he's an idiot, and he made a huge mistake, and it's crazy how like one small comment can just absolutely ruin your life.
What's crazy is like, and this, I think goes back to Vicky being a little bit more brave, is that if, what you say, Groscore, I mean, I don't really know a lot about this subject, but if he was correct, but without proof, I mean, then he's still screwed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like that's the worst part.
I also,
and
part of the story
luckily,
was
Vicky seemed to have gotten a lot of confirmation from people around her. Because if Hyuga decided to do the same thing and say like, I'm on Twitter, I do this. I mean, she never would have commentated a tournament again. She never would have been able to go to tournaments. I mean, you make a claim about someone, as Groscore did, and you're wrong, or even if you're right but you can't prove it, you're screwed.
that. And if that was the case too, that is the full Riot Twitch mafia in swing. Like that whole thing went down so fast, and it's so obvious how deep Riot's hands are into Twitch too.
Well, I mean, I don't really understand. Like, if the way that you're saying that is a negative, like, yeah, Riot has control over the content that gets made for League of Legends. Like,
no, I mean, no, but like I'm saying, definitely have some pull there. I called it a mafia because I'm Italian.
I am also Italian.
Yes. I thought you'd get it So this whole thing is a little nebulous. I think it went down wrong. I really do I don't think that if someone's done something bad once that they should live their life by that worst mistake. Like, it's just not right. Like, if we are to be people, we need to give other people a second chance.
It's usually easy for people who haven't made a mistake in the public space to go, this person should die.
Exactly. Yeah, it's wrong. Like, I'm sorry. Like, how many questionable things have you all done when you're drunk? And it's like, it's kind of inappropriate.
None. I have never done anything questionable when I was drunk.
No, I have. And like, it's just like, I'm not that person, you know what I mean? Like, people can change, and like, especially if the guy is seemingly remorseful and he is, and he definitely is. I don't think we have to give him a little more credit for that because he's a human. Let he
Okay, but
who is
here's
without
my thing
sin
about
cast
remorse,
the first
and
stone.
I'm not. I don't want to be a dick to anyone, but here's my thing about remorse: is he genuinely upset that he did it, or is he upset that he got caught?
Yeah, well, that's another story.
I actually don't know this person well enough to comment on that.
Yeah.
Right.
But from
I mean,
what
like,
I've heard
generally
from people
speaking.
who do know him, they're saying that he is nothing of the sort, and this was like major inhibition loss for alcohol.
Right. Okay.
So, I mean, I would probably lean towards the camp that he's remorseful on both accounts. I mean, no one's happy that they got caught, right? But
Yeah.
I would definitely say that there is some part of him,
Okay.
or at least most part of him, is sad that he hurt somebody. Because
Yeah.
that's the type of person he does seem to be from what I've seen. But at the same time, that's not really my place to judge either way.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know. This shit happens in fucking clubs. You get your ass grabbed, and if you went to Twitter every time, you know.
Well, I mean, that actually happened not too recently from the fighting game community.
Someone got their ass
guy-
grabbed at a club.
a guy named Noel Brown grabbed a girl's ass, and now he's not allowed to tournaments anymore.
Well, he did it on camera in front of.
He
Like,
did it on
thousands of
camera
people.
to
Yeah.
a girl who apparently he was like, all over during the tournament itself, and had been going on the entire time consensually, but she apparently had a boyfriend or something
Yeah.
of the sort, so she kind of played victim on that. And then a whole bunch of other stuff came out, but he still got lambasted because at that point he had a reputation for this kind of thing, so they took him down. So yes, he grabbed the girl's ass on camera, and then GG.
So I guess the message here is, if you're a fucking scumbag in the public eye, like, do your best to not be a scumbag in the public eye for the betterment of our entire community. If you can hide it well, think about the fucking email link, like with the Democratic National Convention, all that shit.
Oh
like,
my God.
I mean, they're all scumbags. Like, it's confirming everything we basically knew. It's not, to me, none of that stuff is truly shocking, but like, at least hide it well. Those guys did it pretty well.
Yeah.
Especially before WikiLeaks was a thing.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, we should talk about politics on Twitch,
yes, we absolutely should. So, for
which
those,
is like the greatest idea of all time.
I don't
I don't
love
think
it.
so.
Sam does not think
I don't
so
think so.
at all.
I don't
You're-
think so
mean,
at all either.
You are wrong.
I mean, like, I understand Twitch is trying to. I understand both sides here. Okay, so.
Explain what happened first.
Okay, yeah. Do that first, Brandon.
Okay, so-
you're good with this.
Twitch allows us to restream the Democratic and Republican national conventions as they are being streamed on Twitch. There were new emotes indicated to get people to somewhat join the conversation. I think that's the easiest way to put it. Streamers are allowed to be a part of this now.
Okay, so here's my take on a couple things. Is it a thing that people should care about? Yes. And I'm talking about politics in general, right? In the government and all that. Is it a thing people do care about on Twitch? No. Generally speaking. If you go to any... I'd say if you go to 95% of the big streams on Twitch, one of the first rules you'll see is no talking about religion, no talking about politics.
I think those are bad rules, but okay.
Don't say the N-word.
But like 95% of streams, you will see that. 95% of big streams, you will see that. No talking about religion, no talking about politics, because everybody always has differing opinions, and it will always spark arguments, right?
Okay.
So
Real quick, before we continue, how would those arguments, if left to the same devices as normal chat, how would they be any worse than the Veratrol bullshit that comes out of people's mouths in Twitch chat anyway?
well, because the bullshit that comes out of people's Twitch mouths and Twitch chat still is relatable to usually the game or the subject matter.
Yeah.
And now here's the other side of things, right? Twitch has up until maybe a year ago always been a gaming platform, right? That was always
Okay.
quite strict. It was a gaming only thing.
Right.
And then they said, okay, now you can do art, creative streams. That's fine. Okay, cool. Now you can do social eating. Some people
Is that available
were
to
like,
everybody?
Yes.
Yeah. Some
Hell
people are
yeah.
like, but a lot of people are like, okay, that's cool too, right? So people are accepting things that aren't necessarily gaming. And now politics is coming out, and a lot of people are like, oh, that's dumb. But if you're going to accept other non-gaming things, you can't just pick and choose. If you're going to accept non-gaming things on Twitch, you're going to have to accept it all.
Okay, so I can argue that. I can argue that pretty easily. I mean, Twitch doesn't have an infinite staff of people, so they're not opening the floodgates entirely. They're kind
Hard
of
to
like
moderate already.
Yeah, exactly. It's very hard to moderate. So they're kind of inching things forward, letting these different communities start to appear and branch out, and they're handling it case by case so that they can continue opening these gates for people. I think that's perfectly fair.
Okay, but now here's my question then. Things like creative streams, art streams.
Right.
People have always done that on Twitch. social eating, and mukbang and all that stuff has had like a huge following, in Asia. That's always been a big thing, right? So these communities have already existed, and Twitch is just catering to them, which is really smart. But like, how many people on Twitch have always said like, I want to stream the political debate? It's like nobody though. Like,
To
so
be
it feels
fair-
like an unnatural kind of creation of a community that wasn't really there. in the
You're
first place.
Canadian though, and that doesn't count because this doesn't concern you.
Well, I'm
He's
just
kind of
Yeah.
American for his Canadian.
mean,
But
it's
yeah,
gonna,
Exactly.
it's
he's
gonna
on
concern
Twitch.
him
All right,
when we
he's
all
on
come up
Twitch.
there.
So PBAT, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, I'm going to push my opinion here for a little bit. Bernie Sanders is the only person that cares about the things that I care about that are running. Hillary Clinton can talk about equality and everything else all she wants. It's obviously pandering. Bernie Sanders has been fighting for the things that I care about since the 60s. On top of the fact that every candidate, aside from Bernie Sanders that was running, is pushing for things like the TPP and things that are going to create all of these ridiculous artificial rules on the internet that was going to make me have a harder time doing my job. It's going to further regulate things like Twitch and YouTube and content creation and allow ISPs to control how much bandwidth I'm allowed to use and all this other stuff. Now, the reason that Bernie Sanders did not defeat Hillary Clinton, aside from the ridiculous amount of name recognition that she had during the Democratic primaries, is the fact that the most underrepresented demographic at the polls was people, my and your ages, people from 18 to 32. They just didn't show up to vote because there's not a lot of leadership out there. I mean, you want to talk about 10 years ago, when P. Diddy got on stage at MTV and said, vote or die, right? That was a major push for people of that age group to start going to the polls. But we don't have TV anymore. People don't watch MTV. People don't, listen to the radio. Those aren't major forms of media. Kids my age and, way younger than me are on Twitch. So if we had this earlier, there's a chance Bernie been our candidate. But considering so much stigma happens, all these people on Twitch that say don't talk about politics because they don't want to have to deal with it, they are shutting down an entire demographic from being able to access this information because let's be real, a lot of it's fucking boring. If it wasn't for House of fucking Cards in the newsroom, I wouldn't give a shit about politics. But I found a part of media that explained it to me and taught me like you should be caring because of these reasons. And now I'm starting to get it. And having me, and other streamers giving us the ability to be able to go into our streams and tell our 1 or 2 or 3 or 10,000 viewers like, listen, these issues matter, and whether or not you want to deal with it, and like today we're gonna fucking talk about it, and this is why you should go.
I find myself persuaded by this. Actually, the more I think about exposing kids to politics,
Yeah.
the more I'm okay with it.
It's important.
My fear is that Twitch being a dominated platform, the dominating platform is that it like other sites can be bought, like Twitter hashtags disappearing, stuff like that.
And Twitch is
that's-
definitely not unfamiliar in that territory.
Oh yeah, it's just that type of thing that worries me. I get that the kids are being exposed to it's probably better. I wish I was more into politics when I was younger, honestly.
Agreed.
God, I hate Hillary so much.
Yo, same.
But I respect that she's like, quote, an old-timey crook. Like, it's just like, she just is that. Like, there's nothing else she could be. Like, she lives it up. She's like, nah, I'm gonna win this. Like that type of thing.
You know what the worst part too is? The likable parts about her are so fake. I want to die.
Are you talking about her tits?
No.
No, the fact that she dabbed on that one.
She
show.
dabbed? Wait,
Yes,
Yeah.
She
wait,
did
can someone
try
explain to
dab.
me what dab is? Is that like
P-Bat, show him.
No, is that like
Dude,
that candy that came on paper and it was like a bunch of
that arm
like
didn't work.
little dots?
You fucked it up.
You know what I'm
Fucked
talking
it
about?
up. P-Bat.
She went on a
Fuck it up.
primarily black radio show. Black host, black audience. The demographic is mostly black communities. She went on there and they said, "All right, what's one thing that you're always carrying on you?" And she said, "Hot sauce." Right? And
That is the
Wait, what?
pandering
Right.
to-
Is that
is just-
racist?
it's
That is
super
100%.
pandering. You know what's crazy
Oh
though,
my
Fats?
God.
You know what's crazy? It's true. She said this like after Bill left office, after she was running for secretary. She said like, I always have hot sauce on me. Like I just love it. She has said that in interviews a dozen times since 2004. But she said it
everybody's
on this
calling-
radio station in a weird way. And she didn't say it in a way that was believable. She didn't whip it out. She didn't like take a swig. She said, "I have hot sauce on me," and it looked like she was being racist as fuck.
That's hilarious. I can picture her like stressing out because she doesn't have to interact with black people a lot and just like trying to pick a thing to connect.
Chicken.
I gotta like she comes in like I don't leave
Holmes.
the office without a fistful of watermelon seeds or something like.
Bunch of black people stuff.
Because I need to
Hot
spread. I need to grow a community. Like what? Like.
Hillary, what's one thing you remember growing up? Oh, I remember getting my hair done, and my mom didn't care if I cried, so she just pulled my head back, and I kept going.
I remember that.
That is perfectly black.
Oh God.
Just kept doing it and told me to stop crying, and I'm tender-headed.
And she's just like she basically, for all intents and purposes, grew up on another fucking planet. She might as well be a lizard person. Like, her perception of reality is so far gone, and her perception of other people is so far gone that to me she is just the old timey crook. That's hilarious.
She doesn't need to perceive reality because she can just, have
Bend it.
the Democratic National Convention give her the election.
Yeah. It must be crazy to get everything you want for your entire life, huh?
Yeah. I really want my husband to be president. Man, I really want to be president myself.
Yeah, they're probably just like talking in bed at night, like, you want to be president next, babe? Like, to me, it's like a weird thing. I hate that she thinks she's the heir to the
I
throne.
watched that
And,
on Netflix.
This is
House
why
of Cards is great.
I'm so adamant about politics being on Twitch, because Hillary Clinton is one of the fucking people that think video games make people shoot up schools.
Honestly, the only thing that made me shoot up is heroin.
She might be right. You never know,
Fuck
bro.
out of here, Fats.
Come on, man. You don't know.
Dude, but I'm saying, like, it's people like Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump who have voted against video game bills. It's people like Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump who, want to take sites like Twitch down. Like,
Donald Trump doesn't know how the internet works.
that's what I'm saying. Like, we as
So
a
he doesn't know how to
community
take
and we as
things
a
down.
demographic are allowing these motherfuckers to run our country because. And this is not entirely our fault. It's because we are not exposed to politics in a way that makes us understand why it's relevant to our lives. Because let's be real, 10 years ago, it wasn't relevant to us. It didn't matter. They weren't going to relegate video games enough to where I couldn't play them. The internet didn't matter to the point where I needed to be on it 17 hours a day like I am now. But, Bernie Sanders is out here trying to tell us, like, yo, kids, get off your fucking asses or you're going to be fucking screwed. And we're a bunch of jerk-offs sitting on our asses going, it doesn't matter. It does.
You want to know? This reminds me 100% of RIP the UK. All the kids, all the kids voted for one thing.
Thought it was funny.
No. They didn't vote for the bad thing. There's a lot of the younger demographic in the UK voted to stay, and then all the old people who don't understand the internet, who don't know what a cell phone is, who say Pokemon still, those motherfuckers voted to go. It's the same thing here.
Well, there was a ton of people in Brexit who were voting to leave who were like 18 to 25.
Didn't know what it was.
And they were just like, I was just voting because I thought it was funny. I didn't know this was like a big serious thing. They said that. There are tweets of people
I
saying
know
that.
that.
No, the only
I'm
reason
crazy.
the only
I'm
reason
still saying majority of that age group voted to stay, whereas most of the seniors voted to leave when they're on their last legs of life anyway.
Right, yeah, that's true.
Whereas the same thing's happening here, where all these old white people with their money, full offense, no offense, I don't care, full offense. All these old stuffy white people are like, you know what? A Mexican cut me off today. Let's go Trump.
Let's build a wall.
No. It's the same thing that happened with Brexit. Like, the reason why it succeeded is not because of, like, misinformation and a lack of, like, taking it seriously. It's because the older generation of that country are deeply racist. They see refugees. They see there's a large Indian population over there, and it's like they're literally racist, and that is like passed down because you have to remember not many other countries are as diverse as we are, and that's why race is such an issue. Race really isn't an issue across the planet. It seems like it's an issue in our world because our world is the biggest and we have the fucking biggest mouth. Over there, things are a lot more segregated, and it's like old racism, and that's what's the saddest thing about Brexit to me.
But, I just want to say one of the biggest symptoms, I think, of not being exposed to politics is we're getting all amped up about the presidential election. How many people actually know which states are up for seats in the House and Senate? Those are the most important things. The reason Congress hasn't gotten anything done for the last 4 years is because we've had people who are just doing nothing there. So
Hot filibuster season.
Yeah.
See, I want to be a congressman because I feel like they have a lot of power and no one ever cares that they exist.
Brandon,
5 more
you're
years.
not into young boys
No,
enough.
you couldn't handle people not knowing if
Yo, you don't know me. Fuck.
You couldn't handle people not knowing
Young
your
boys,
name,
if you're out
GM.
there, send me your T-shirt. Okay.
God.
Nice.
Just missed.
Wow.
That was a good joke.
That was a Sam joke.
That was
That
great.
was
a Sam joke.
Told you I'd get funnier by the end of the
Sam got a little
episode.
serious on the last point, so I had to take some disgusting ass joke to even it out.
This is
Remember when
terrible.
Sam said
Not
if you could say one thing on the podcast that would end your streaming career, what would it be? You just
And you all got mad at me. And here you are ripping boys off of shirts. Or the other way around.
Get out of that shirt, you little cunt. Like,
God damn- No, stop!
oh
You
my
are actually.
God.
That's it. That's it. It's done.
I
Wrap
told
it up,
you.
boys.
Told you I get funny by the end of the episode.
You didn't get funny.
Yes, I did.
DM got tired of his career. That's what happened.
Oh god.
Oh, man.
Where's Faucius for politics, huh?
Fosh is
He's
my
Twitch
first
cops.
episode, son.
Oh,
First
God.
episode, he said, "Fuck you."
All right, so we need to get to hypothetical here. We're a little bit over time. So I want to find something relevant. Okay, how about this? If you can get one message across to the whole of the Twitch community that you believe is the most important, what would that message be?
Oh, that's easy. Your bullshit in chat isn't funny. You're a horrible cunt. And if you would actually have any semblance of worth, people might actually like you enough to care about your life.
Okay, you had an
You
opportunity.
really didn't have to take shots at us like that.
You had an opportunity to do real good there. Instead, you threw it on just
Instead,
insulting them.
He
No, because they
realized
need
that
to
he
be
needs-
insulted. Like
he
they
needs
have to
the anger.
recognize, like the majority of like those shit posters in Twitch chat, they're not being funny. They're repeating memes that we've heard 10,000 times. They're not being original. They're not putting anything forth that makes Twitch a better platform or makes anyone's life more enriched. You're just being a jerk off. You're just trying to hurt people, and I hate you more than you
Hey,
could
Brandon,
understand.
what's your favorite meme? Mine's Ermagerd.
That's a really old.
I-
How old are you, Sam?
I think that's my favorite meme ever.
old as
my,
shit.
my favorite picture recently, I know it's still kind of old. There's a woman and a man laying in bed, and usually it would be like
As God intended.
yeah, they're facing away from each other, and usually would say like the woman says, "Why isn't he talking to me? Is he cheating on me? Like, does he still love me? Blah blah blah." And the man's like, "Oh man, my motorcycle wouldn't start." But instead, it said the man said like, "Is she cheating on me? Why doesn't she want to talk to me anymore?" Blah blah blah. And hers is like. Are these memes still good? Is that boy funnier than Puppers? Like it fucking kills me, dude. Every time. That and boy,
Man
he did
brought
it. God
back the
bless.
vintage memes, bro.
Yeah,
Vintage memes.
Ermagerd and Dat Boy are my favorite memes ever.
That boy is my favorite meme.
Boy, no, boy,
of
he did. It's
all
way
time.
better.
That had the shortest meme lifetime of anything because
That's
that
just
one
like fucking
one
everybody
journalist.
killed it.
Dude,
No,
that thing
one-
went meme
One
supernova.
dude killed it, and he got so happy about killing it that he made an article saying, "I'm happy I killed that boy," and I'm in the damn article.
Who is this?
I forget. It's
Some
not-
article, some guy for Vice.
Wait, is that fat guy
Oh,
who like
right,
making fun of the
Vice,
Smite community?
You don't like Vice?
No.
I like
Not
Vice.
anymore.
He doesn't like the Vice. He wants to be a congressman.
He lives the vice.
All right, so
Uh,
let's go back to the hypothetical. JC, what's your message for the whole of the Twitch community?
Look up your local elections because those are the ones that matter the most. The president actually doesn't do super much compared to your mayor and your congressman and your senator. So get out there and find out about those people.
There you go, JC.
Matters.
That's the right thing. Fats. Oh, by the way, neither you nor P-Back can say Black Lives Matter. Okay.
I would like to tell Sam that Black Lives Matter. I don't know why he thought that would be a cool thing to borrow from me.
Oh
You
my god.
racist Italian fuck.
Hey, come on.
you racist Italian fuck. God
There you go.
bless,
That's
dude.
the combo. That's the
God
combo right
bless.
there.
Was that actually
I'm
yours?
taking your pizzeria.
literally
We're
the
coming in.
literally the plot of Do the Right Thing.
Exactly.
All right, P-Bat.
What would I tell the entire Twitch community?
Yeah.
I would tell them to email their local Twitch staff and petition to get PBAT Eat back. And now is a global emote. Because it's interest. And now
Who?
interest me because I've lost my privilege. And now
What privilege?
now to pay me back now has to be a global emote. For
What
at least a
privilege?
year.
What privilege did you have that they took away from you?
Are you paying Twitch
I-
tax? Like
Well, thankfully,
Listen.
we may not have P-Betty, but we do have DME.
Okay,
So it's a little bit of a.
we
Let's
do?
Let's listen to logic for
You
a
haven't
second,
seen
okay?
that emote yet?
think of emotes, Kappa.
Oh God.
Think of Whatface. Think of K-Kona. They're all human beings. And what were human beings before they were born?
Oh, they were fucking spooge.
It was
They were
literally
DME.
just that.
They were eggs.
It was literally just that before they were born. It's just another person.
That's right.
A bunch of them, actually.
We're all fucking eggs, boys.
Literally millions of people.
Exactly. It's just millions of people in emo. That's all it is. It's not
I
even
mean, if
milk.
you're a Republican, it's a million of people. If you're Democrat, well,
We'll
Yeah.
wait. We'll wait a little bit. I know.
All right. So I
You're a
guess my
Democrat, that's
my
just a
message
mess.
for the whole the Twitch community. We talked a lot about politics today. I think it's just like very important that like you guys just pay attention, and I think you like until
Where
you
is
get
this
a good
going?
look at it. Look at it. You can't hate on butt stuff. You just gotta try it.
I knew it was going to be stupid.
There we go.
And there it is. All right, and that's the show, everybody. Follow me on Twitter. I'm at Juice Matter. Brandon at Juice DM. Paperbat at Paperbat VG. Fats at ZooFats. And JC at Juice Cyan. We should be back next week, although I have got a big wedding and stuff like that. But if you like,
You're getting
just-
married to your cat, finally?
God damn it! It's my cousin's
Nice.
wedding.
You're marrying your
Are you
cousin?
getting married, cousin?
Just fucking follow the channel for
I mean,
American.
like, it's
Just-
better than your
just
cat,
fucking
I guess.
rate and review on
Fucking American.
iTunes and all that, and kiss your cat goodnight because he does love you.